Good morning, Moriarty in America. What we got here today for a show is an article that's on the WND site, and it's deal with the Obama gun executive orders on gun control. It's an article that covers the out-of-control dictator in the U.S. Attorney General's office, Loretta Lynch. The article goes on to say that Lynch has become the latest Obama appointee to admit that one of her top priorities is to make sure Obama's policies live on long after she and her boss leave power. Lynch is quoted in the last issue of New York Magazine's saying, "My goal is to position the Department of Justice where it will carry on in all of these issues long after myself and my team have moved on." She was speaking specifically about Obama's executive orders on gun control, which he announced last week. Lynch made the comment in response to a question about how she planned to prosecute gun sellers under the new executive actions. Leading Republican presidential hopefuls Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, and Ben Carson all vowed to overturn the Obama orders if elected, but if Lynch gets her way, that will be easier said than done. So, back in April 2015, Obama's top domestic advisor, Cecil Mananzo, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, said she was also working to institutionalize Obama's policies in the case of Mananz, her focus would not be on gun control but on immigration. So here's the problem as I see it. We got three branches of government, and we know the Obama administration has bent over backwards to take power away from Congress and make himself and others believe that number one, he has the authority to do this, and number two, that he appoints these people into these department heads. I think he's, I think during his term in office, he's probably, while interviewing these people, made sure that these are puppets in all these different departments that will do exactly what he wants them to do. You got to hand it to the guy. This scheme, whoever thought this scheme up of taking over the United States government, it really did their homework, because what's going on is Obama goes on the TV and he announces these executive orders, and there's a big heated debate for 1 or 2 days, and then it kind of dies down. But while it's out in the public debate, behind the scenes, all his department heads are getting together, rewriting law, and trying to put in place different laws, I guess, or roadblocks that would make it difficult to overturn any of these illegal executive actions. And they are illegal. An executive action was only supposed to be used to strengthen the power that the president already had, like, to reinforce a law that was already passed by Congress. It wasn't for sitting president to use to go around Congress to create new laws. You hear people from the left argue, well, he hasn't used the executive order as much as past presidents, and they're right. The total number of executive orders that he used isn't the issue. The issue is what is in those executive orders and how they are being implemented. And this, by the way, is also the fault of the Republican-led Congress for letting him get away with this for 7+ years now. But, and if you ask me, this article here, quoting Attorney General Loretta Lynch, is grounds in itself to implement it, to start impeachment proceedings in the U.S. House of Representatives. It's just crazy. What's even crazier is how the American people overall You know, well, regardless of what side they fall on, whatever their opinions are on this subject, the right comes up and speaks out against these executive actions, gets all upset, and you know, screams for a day or two, and then it dies away. Then you got people from the right also who are sitting back and waiting, I guess, for the 2016 election, and hoping that, you know, it's going to be a conservative, and then attack these orders. But what history has proven one thing, that when something becomes accepted as law, it is very, very difficult under good situation, under good conditions, to have that law overturned or done away with. And plus, the other problem is this: the man is out of control. He doesn't deserve to leave office with any kind of honors. He doesn't deserve to leave office with a pension. He doesn't deserve to leave office with the ability to ever seek political office again. He should be tried for numerous crimes under the U.S. Constitution, and then he should be sentenced for those crimes. And for his treason against the United States, right there, that's a court-martial offense. He should be just, you know, he shouldn't be sitting in prison for 30 years. We need to send a strong and clear signal that, number one, the American people are not going to put up with this kind of tyranny any longer. You know, and that's the other point. It's gotten to this point, too, because a lot of the people say, well, you know, past presidents did this, past presidents. That doesn't matter. If a guy goes out and commits murder and gets away with it, it doesn't mean that murder is now legal. That argument is just plain stupid. All right? What matters is that the people in the United States say, okay, enough's enough. We're going to go back to the rule of law here. We're going to go back to the Constitution. And nobody gave you permission to violate our Constitution. No one gave you permission to, you know, become a tyranny and dictatorship and push your will on the American people. No one gave you that right. So we got to stand sometime, and it might as well be now, you know, because the 2016 election don't mean nothing at this point. If all these people get away with what they're doing, these department heads, even people in the Senate and on the Supreme Court. And this is another comment I heard yesterday on the subject of gay marriage, or I guess it originated from the State of the Union speech. I say I guess because I didn't watch it, didn't care to watch it. The guy's a blowhard, why do I want to watch it? 90% of what the man says is a lie anyway, so what's the sense in even paying attention to him? But anyways, he made, I guess, this comment in a speech. I don't know the exact quote, but he supposedly said that gay marriage is now the law of the land. This is how his executive orders, and this is how the Supreme Court's overreach has become accepted in this country. The Supreme Court never had the power to implement new laws. They never had the power to change definitions of words. But according to the Obama administration, the Supreme Court got away with doing both. They created law and they changed the definition of marriage. Now most of us know that the definition of marriage came from God himself. Man cannot change that definition no matter how bad they want to. Now you got so-called Christian churches, I don't care what denomination they are, there's a few, who claim that they support gay marriage and they're going to perform the ceremonies. They are no longer Christian churches at that point, because the definition of Christian is to follow Christ. Christ, you know, it's like saying I'm a Christian and a Democrat. To me, that's impossible. You cannot be a Christian and be a Democrat because of what they believe as a party. You know, the abortion issue, the gay rights issues, and taking away freedoms from everyday Americans is not Christian values. And if you believe they are, then I hope that you pay attention for a while to some of my Sabbath shows that I'll be doing, because Christianity has got a problem within itself, and that's a topic that'll be addressed in the Sabbath shows that I'll be hopefully putting together soon. But back on the issue of the Constitution, this is the problem with waiting until the next election, and this is the problem with the attitude that these things can all be changed later. The United States don't have later. Once these things become accepted practices, and let's say that you can live with all the, you have the opinion you can live with all these illegal executive actions. What about when the next guy comes into power that doesn't have the same philosophy you do? What about the next person that the American people are tricked into believing is the greatest guy on earth, and then he gets into office and he takes this one step farther and starts enforcing all these actions by gunpoint? It's getting there fast. I actually believe, I kind of in the last few days have seen a scenario by putting together different news reports from different websites. Obama is going to try to gain power in the UN and then force the U.S. citizenry into compliance on gun laws and everything else. This, the United States should have got out of the UN a long time ago. It's just not an organization that the United States... we should pull out of the UN, kick the UN off of U.S. soil, and go back to our founding principles. And one of them, the Founding Fathers made it clear, you can look it up yourself, that when it came to foreign policy, they didn't want, first of all, they didn't want any money from foreign powers. They didn't want any undue influence from other powers. They believe pretty much that we should, other than diplomacy, stay away from foreign powers. We should never let foreign powers dictate to us what U.S. law is. And if you notice too, there's an awful lot of people from England and other European countries trying to push their opinions on the U.S. Whether these are news media people, politicians, you name it. For some reason, England especially has decided it now has the power to tell us what to do. Well, we kicked the British out of here twice, and I guess if it comes down to it, we might have to do it a third time. If that's their attitude, that they think that the U.S. is falling back under their control somehow, I guess we'll be very happy to give them a good whooping again, I guess. First of all, other than the British Navy, which they've always had a great Navy, there ain't much to fear from them anyway. Their country has so many issues. All of Europe has so many issues when it comes to Muslim terrorists and, taking over Europe. Same thing Obama and his pals want to do here in the U.S., which he's getting away with, by the way. We can sit here and complain and say, no, we don't want these people here. But, they're here, and they're coming still. No one's stopping them, So you can say, oh, 2016. Well, what are you going to do in 2016 when you wake up and Hillary Clinton is the nominee? And you say, oh, that can't happen. Oh, yeah? Look at all these new U.S. citizens. Who do you think they're going to vote for? And then once you had the new U.S. citizens, then they had, the typical voters for the Democrat Party, which are dead people or pets or whatever they can find, to put on, put a name on a ballot, and just, no one even cares anymore if it's legit or not. Oh yeah, you see articles here and there that, this person or that person is going to tighten voting laws and whatever, but overall, it just doesn't happen, just like with anything. I have not, all of the past 7 years that I've heard the Republicans and the Congress and the Senate complain about Obama's overreach. I haven't seen one executive action overturned. I haven't seen one of his illegal plans stopped. Other than, you know, on the issue of immigration, there was a couple federal judges that supposedly stopped them. But here again, with the Syrian refugees, Muslim refugees, no one's stopping it. They're coming in by the, you know, tens of thousands. And, you know, for somebody to say, well, you know, we're going to fix that in 2016, you know, by then, you know, you're talking 2017 before, what is it, January 20th of 2017, before, that's a whole year away, before the next president sits in the Oval Office. And I don't believe Obama intends that to happen. I believe that these executive actions are going to come fast and furious. They're going to be more grabbing more and more power, centralizing the power under the puppet in the White House. All to funnel it all to the UN to get the U.S. to comply to the one world order way of doing business. And unfortunately, it just seems like nobody cares enough to do anything about it. So sadly, that, you know, we're facing a situation here where we either say enough's enough now, or we accept the outcome, and that's all there is to it. It's just going to get worse as this year goes on, unfortunately. Not just in the political arena, the economic collapse is here. It's getting worse every day. There, you know, so we need to make some changes now, not wait until some, you know, new person enters into the White House and starts a whole new list of problems. And that's probably what's going to happen too. The elected president of the United States will probably, once he gets sits behind the desk on January 20th of 2017, will probably be so overwhelmed with issues and, you know, this country's issues, that they probably will not be able to get to a lot of these things right away. And who's to say, is the American people going to put a conservative in the White House but load the Senate and the House back up with liberals? I guarantee you what's going to happen. You do that, the liberals are going to resort back to the old ways of doing, you know, trying to follow the Constitution and pointing fingers and blocking anything the conservative president tries. So, you know what, unless the new sitting president breaks his own word and says, you know, I'm going to do what executive actions to undo the executive actions, we'll have to wait and see. But the whole thing stinks. The whole thing needs to end today. And that's the way I see it on this issue. We'll be back later to do another show. Appreciate your time. Thanks for checking in. God bless.
People who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. Then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and will heal their land.